Knowing and paying attention to the little details when trolling on a lake or a pond can make the big difference between success and failure. I'll give you a recent example. It's midsummer, and last weekend I spent several days at Oregon's very popular East Lake. Because the wind was up, I was trolling, as were all the other anglers in my immediate vicinity. In that 3-hour period, I landed 11 fish, 6 kokanee salmon and 5 rainbow trout. As I watched other anglers in my immediate vicinity doing the same thing, I saw nobody hook, play, or land a fish. Doesn't mean that they didn't, but I was watching them quite a bit. Trolling, my eyes are free to look for insects on the water or in the air, rising fish, and other anglers. So what was the big difference? I'll tell you. I'm Michael Gorman, professional fly fishing guide and author of Effective Stillwater Fly Fishing. In addition to talking about the fine details, the little nuances of effective trolling, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how you can access information on my single, very favorite, must-have, go-to trolling fly line. Now on to trolling. Trolling is more than just dragging the flies behind you in your floating craft on a lake or pond. In Chapter 6 of my book, I dedicate the entire chapter to what I call the art of effective trolling. You need to know the little details. You need to pay attention to them. What made the difference for me? I'm going to tell you right now. Number one, let's start with the definition. When I refer to a strip of line, I'm talking about the distance between the reel and the first guide on the fly rod. That's a strip. As you troll, number two, you need to count the number of strips you put out behind your floating craft. Number three, where do you start? How many strips? I'm suggesting you start with 10. Fish with that length for a while. If nothing happens, lengthen it another 2 or 3 strips, and so on until you finally get a strike. Number four, when you get a strike, remember how many strips of line you had out behind you. Number five, vary the trolling speed. Slower is usually better than faster. You're going to even intersperse that with the occasional stop, and then start up slowly. Pay attention in that routine as to how fast you were moving when the strike came. Number 6, add some movement to your fly. This is a big one. As you're trolling, you can add movement by lifting and lowering your rod tip slowly. Lift it a foot or two, drop it back. Troll a little bit, lift it, and drop it. Another way you can do it is by pulsing the fly. You'll just pull in line 2 or 3 inches and then let it go. Pull in 2 or 3 inches of line and let it go. Mix that in with your troll. And lastly, as you stop or slow down, you can strip line. I pull in 7 or 8 or 10 strips of line. I vary the length. I vary the speed at which I pull them in, and experiment. So additional movement can make the difference. Mix it in with your trolling routine. If you can remember and apply these 6 little guidelines, you will be a more effective troller. As I mentioned earlier, if you're interested in knowing my #1 trolling lake fly line, there's a link that's going to appear in the corner of the frame here. You can click on it, or you can click on the link below the video, and it's going to take you to my website. Once there, click on the menu item at the top of the page that says Contact Me. Send me an email, remind me which video you watched, and I will send you a link to a private page with details about my favorite trolling fly line. And look for my next video, which will be part 3 of the art of effective trolling. See you then.